Touch is a biofield therapy started by American nurses. Actually, Janet Mengen started it back in the 1980s. The goal was that the nurses would go into doing their rounds, and there's limits in the hospital of what you can do, how much medicine you can max out on for the patients. And so they just started discovering by trial and error that certain times if they lay their hands a certain place, the patient would rest more, or they would say they needed less medicine and so forth. So Janet started doing the research around the world, pulling from different cultures, her own observations on actual techniques that assisted pain, decreased different disease symptoms, helped with people's mental health and wellness as well, and then put it together in a very structured curriculum. This is a continuing certification program for nurses, and they have since opened it up to the rest of us. The goal is it works on helping your physical, your mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of your wellness. It works with the client collaboratively. It's not something we do to a client, it's something they collaborate in as well, because it is their health, it is their wellness to begin with. So Healing Touch and numerous other energy modalities, they work very similar because they use the same energy system. Right? So this has been proven by numerous amounts of research now, but we do have a meridian system, a chakra system, and a biofield. Some people call it an aura. Right? So your chakras are the first important part, in my opinion, and they look something like, if you could say, like tornadoes or funnels pulling energy into your system. You have over 20,000 chakras in your body. Most people only know the major 7 that run up the core or trunk, but they're coming up the front as well as the back, and their job is to pull fresh energy in from the universal energy field continuously throughout the day and night. They feed the meridians that the acupuncturists and acupressurists have used for over thousands of years. The meridians were proven by a French researcher first. He injected radioactive isotopes into someone on a supposed meridian point, and within 5 minutes, 4 to 6 minutes, it actually tracked through the entire gridded meridian system that originally we only had drawings of. And they did it again off the grid, and it just dispersed, didn't go anywhere. The third important part is the biofield. So most people have heard of hospital tests, the EKG, EEG, and EMG. So these are very standard tests in Western medicine, and they test the electrical current of the heart, the muscles, and the brain. Well, there's a physics law, I think it's Maxwell's law, which says wherever there's an electrical current, there's a corresponding electromagnetic field, or basically bubble. So your heart produces this massive bubble, your brain produces one, all of your muscles produce one. So we have these bubbles upon bubbles that we're walking around in. Okay? A healthy heart, they actually registered a field 10 feet in diameter, because we can store trauma, we can store emotion, we can store past pain, current pain, all these things, and I know it sounds bizarre, but all these things we can store out here, as well as within our muscle memory, as well as within our cell memory. So the goal is to always balance the energy system, all 3 levels, connect, open, and balance your chakras, make sure the meridians are running clear. Then from there, your body will start functioning to its optimum. So there are many benefits with Healing Touch as far as how it can help different people. One of the great things is it's very portable. All I need are my hands. You know, some people have fear of needles. Some people don't like ingesting a lot of prescription medicines, because all prescription medicines have some side effect on the body. And so one of the benefits is there are no side effects to this, except a lot of times feeling very relaxed and wanting to take a nap sometimes. Cost, when we look at if somebody doesn't have insurance and what they would have to go through if they're going to the emergency room or to a doctor or those kind of things, it is much more beneficial. But also part of Healing Touch and what I do is teaching people how to be proactive. So it's preventative self-care. And so that, of course, saves money in the long run as well. I have worked on people who were able to get off, avoid extreme complications. Still, it's not in place of. Healing Touch, again, started by American nurses, is not considered necessarily an alternative to medicine. It's a complementary. We always encourage people to continue their visits with their physicians to make sure they're checking, regular healthy checkups, that kind of deal. But there are times when, if you learn how to manage your energy system and see someone for that consistent help, you can avoid longer term things. So when a client signs up or asks me what to expect with Healing Touch, so there's some basic things to know. Person stays fully dressed. The goal is just for you to be as comfortable as possible, body position wise, and then depending on what your goal is, what we're working on, that I have access to that area. I usually tell people to work on some slow, deep breathing, because most of us in our age today, for some reason we've taught ourselves to breathe very shallow, when that works against what our body needs. So that's the only actual thing I ask the client to do while I'm working on them. Other than that, I begin a session by just asking their permission. If a client, and I know that may sound odd, if someone is coming to you for help, to say, are you really sure? But the standard Healing Touch, a similar type of phrase is, do I have your permission to do Healing Touch for your highest and greatest good with unconditional love? I do a pre-assessment to check how far out the biofield is, if the chakras are open or compromised, and do a general biofield feel. Basically, I'm checking to see if any hot spots come up. For me, hot spots are heat comes up as pain areas or inflammation or blocks anywhere in the energy system or in the actual physical. It could be muscle, could be tendon, sometimes in the blood circulatory system, things like that will come up. So that tells me what order to do the interventions during that session. Most sessions last about an hour. There are a couple techniques that take a little longer, hour and a half, but that's the maximum. If I'm working on someone who is under 10, very short, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. If I'm under 15, generally 30 minutes is the maximum, and that's with a little bit of setting goals at the beginning and at the end. So we do the interventions, and then at the end I will recheck everything and make notes on how things have changed, and then disconnect with the client and give him or her some water, and we talk about what the pain levels have changed to, stress levels, emotional levels, things like that, and talk about what the next course of action is that they would like to pursue. It's going to work to different levels to people based on if their condition is chronic or acute, and if they're willing to go home and do the self-care in between time. Again, it's a collaborative process, and it can be very, very effective. It's just an incredible honor to be able to help people feel better with just being basically human.